This is Keep On Cooking, a podcast for people who love cookbooks and want to know more about the authors. It's also a great place to get a weekly dose of culinary inspiration to keep things pumping in the kitchen. So grab a cookbook and keep on cooking. I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cooking. Hello and welcome to Keep On Cooking, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm your host, Dustin Harder, and nobody wants to be lonely because I am alone today. So I'm singing all songs of loneliness. No, it's just me. I'm not lonely. I'm great. I'm here snuggled up with a beautiful cookbook on a, winter Saturday, just recording this episode for you. And I'm looking at Vegan Everything, 100 easy recipes for any craving, from bagels to burgers, tacos, and ramen. This is by Nadine Horn and Jörg Mayer. Now, to be, as I always, want to let you know, they were invited to be on the podcast, but they're not doing English interviews. So The Experiment, one of my favorite independent publishers, sent me this book, and another one of theirs that I'm actually going to go through. It's a fabulous book. It's got so many wonderful recipes. They're also the authors of VBQ, the Ultimate Vegan Barbecue Cookbook, and the Ultimate Vegan Breakfast Book. And I have that Ultimate Vegan Breakfast one, so we'll take a look at that sometime as well. But before we get into that, let's take a look at, it's not an upcoming book, but it's a book that came out in December. It's called Simple Goodness, No Fuss, Plant-Based Meals Straight from Your Pantry. Now, I wanted to mention this today because it's by Makini Howell. She is the owner and operator of Plum Bistro in Seattle, very celebrated vegan restaurant for a long time. Unfortunately, though, I just looked it up and Plum closed this, January of 2025, I just found out, which I didn't know. And I think I ate there. I had the pleasure of dining there one time when I was in Seattle. We were never able to record with them. I remember we had conversations, but it didn't quite work out in terms of filming for the Vegan Roadie when we filmed in Seattle. It's so funny, when we were doing the Vegan Roadie, people would always be like, you have to film here and you have to do this. And like, well, people don't know. It's like sometimes we tried really hard to film at places, but scheduling was always so difficult. It wasn't a full Food Network operation where we shut the restaurant down for 2 to 3 days to film. Like, it was me and a camera person, and we went in and we tried to go in during their downtime. So that meant usually we'd go in when they were prepping in the morning, maybe get some like prep shots and some interviews with the owners, and then we'd try and catch their downtime between 2 and 4 and record some interior shots and all that. But it was always, we were trying to navigate there. We didn't want to ever stop the flow of business, right? Because business is important. You got to keep the doors open. So I was always trying to be very respectful. And that was always the question too when we'd reach out. They'd be like, well, we can't like shut anything down. I'd be like, you don't have to shut anything down. We will work around you for everything. But all that to say, it did make scheduling very difficult sometimes. So I feel like I remember a conversation. We just couldn't make it work with Plum, unfortunately. But lucky for us, Makini Howell is putting all of her delicious dishes into books for us. There was even one she released a few years before this called Makini's Vegan Kitchen. And it looks as though there was even a Plum Bistro cookbook in 2013. But now we have this new offering from Makini Howell called Simple Goodness, No Fuss, Plant-Based Meals Straight from Your Pantry. With over 140 delicious recipes, Howell provides everything from practical tips stocking your kitchen for plant-based life to recipes for dips that double as sauces and can be used from breakfast to dinner. Easy and healthy breakfast, plant, beef, and cheese taquitos. I don't know about that for breakfast, but delicious just the same. Sustaining lunches, portobello gyros, hearty suppers, eggplant parmesan with Alfredo, rigatoni, and lemon, olive oil, arugula. Yes, please. And delicious desserts, vanilla caramel apple sprinkle ice cream, Sammy. Additionally, Simple Goodness features a whole chapter dedicated to kid-friendly recipes. Healthy, tasty, and enjoyable dishes for quick, energizing breakfast, packable lunches, and will love adults will love them to dinners. There we go. Even for the pickiest eaters, Simple Goodness offers life-changing meals that fit seamlessly into your lifestyle, whether you're feeding a family or just yourself, a college student, or anyone in between. More than just a cookbook, it's a tribute to the warmth and care found in sharing homemade food and embracing plant based life in one simply good meal at a time. I love that. So, if you ever visited Plum Bistro and you're a fan of McKinney's, make sure you pick up Simple Goodness, No Fuss plant based meals straight from your pantry. It is out now everywhere books are sold. Um, I also remember I feel like when I first went vegan, which was like 2009, my biggest goal for those of you that have been with me for a long time, it was always mac and cheese. I was like, how do I find the best mac and cheese? How do I make the best mac and cheese? What do I do? And I do remember recipes online by McKinney for mac and yeast, very specifically mac and yeast, which of course was nutritional yeast. So when I saw this book, I got really excited because and her energy always just looks so fabulous. She's a big smiling picture of her on the cover. So you want to cook people who are bringing joy to the kitchen and putting it on the pages. That's good stuff, right? Now, it's no reason not to know something. We're doing vegan everything today. That's the book we're looking at. And on the cover, immediately I thought, oh, everything bagel, right? And actually on the cover, it is photos of everything bagels. And so then I thought, well, who invented this wacky everything bagel seasoning that we all have come to know and love? And the invention of everything bagel seasoning is a bit of a debated topic. Several people have claimed credit for it, of course they have, but one of the most well known claims comes from David Gusson, a Long Island bagel shop worker in the early 1980s. According to Gusson, he accidentally created the blend when he swept over the leftover seeds and seasonings from the bagel oven. Poppy seeds, sesame seeds, dried onion, dried garlic, and salt, and suggested using it as a topping for bagels. However, other bagel makers like Seth Godin and Joe Bastianic have also claimed they were using similar seasoning blends around the same time. Regardless of its true origin, everything bagel seasoning has since become a wildly popular spice blend beyond bagels, used on avocado toast, popcorn, and even in salad dressing. I do love it on some avocado toast. That is not a lie, very, very much. I like it on avocado toast with a little bit of sriracha. You know what I also do is a sweet potato toast with everything seasoning and a little bit of sriracha. I actually think I put the recipe for that in the Power Foods Diet Cookbook. But you don't really need a recipe for it. What are you doing there? You're gonna put some seasoning on some mashed sweet potato, and you're gonna get into it. It's gonna be delicious. Well, okay, let's take a look today at Vegan Everything, 100 easy recipes for any craving, from bagels to burgers, tacos, and to ramen, by Nadine Horn and Jörg Mayer. They are, of course, the minds behind eatthis.com.org. Let me see if I can find it here. It is German based, so it's eat-this.org. And when you go to the website, so the reason they're not doing the podcast, I mentioned this already, but they're not doing English interviews because they're German. And so the website, when you go to it though, you can click to see it in German or you can click to see it in English. So if you want to check out their website at eat-this.org, you can check that out. Now let's talk about the book. While there might be different vegan cookbooks that offer a multitude of recipes for different types of food, if you'd like a cookbook that covers all different types of food for all three meals, including desserts, dips, and more, you might find yourself unsure where to turn. From the authors of VBQ and the Ultimate Vegan Breakfast Book, now comes Vegan Everything, 100 easy recipes for any craving, from bagels to burgers, tacos, and ramen. This came out in 2019, so it's been kicking around for a little bit here. It really is a gorgeous book with lots of fabulous recipes that we're going to get to. And here in this book, you'll find quick, easy, creative recipes from all different countries, like Vietnamese cucumber salad, 5-spice baozi. It says baozi. When I looked it up, this is like a bao, like a bun, a steamed bun, and more that anyone can make, no matter their expertise level in the kitchen, on just a short amount of time. With a handy guide on making vegan easy on a budget, love that, from eating your leftovers to growing your own food, to stocking your fridge, pantry, and more to ensure vegan doesn't have to be gourmet, to even offering recipes specifically for date nights and parties that are sure to be a hit. Vegan Everything will be your one-stop vegan recipe guide, no matter your need. Now, Nadine Horn is a vegan cookbook author and knows how to make food look really pretty. She's also an avid pottery geek and loves to throw clay around her small workshop. She and Jörg are the creators of Eat This, the most popular vegan blog in all of Germany. Jörg is a vegan cookbook author, creator of Eat This, the most popular vegan blog in all of Germany, and photography and design geek who is also addicted to hot sauces. It's really cute when you go to their website, Eat This. There's like a picture of them with pasta and like basically like squirting sriracha on everything, which I love. It's so cute. And they're just they seem very fun and adorable. So let's dig into this book, shall we? A little fun romp here. Now, I decided to do this book today because it really is like, we're in the cookbook space where there's been so many books out in the last decade that are really doing this thing where they're like, we have all the stuff. It's not just a breakfast book. It's not just a party holiday book. It's not just a book for vegan kids. It's an everything book. It's an all-purpose book, which I love. I think all my books might be that when I think about it, because like I'm always including like the breakfast, lunch, the dinner, the appetizers, all of that. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. 1 second, please stick with me here. So I I'm always drawn to these when I feel like they're clear, concise, short ingredient listed recipes, one pager recipes. I was at the book tour stop for Chef Bay last week in Chicago, and someone said to her, who was watching the food demo, like, what do you consider a great cookbook? And I was thinking that through because I also did the, what is it, Vegan Friends podcast, with Tony Okamoto and Michelle Kane. They're vegan friendly friend. I did their podcast and they were asking me that, like, what do you think is a great, like, what's the signs of a great cookbook, a cookbook someone wants to pick up, essentially, right? And really for me it is, and I'm not saying short's not always the best when it comes to a recipe, because sometimes you got to get into it, right? But when you're looking at an all-purpose cookbook like this, I am thinking like, oh, I'm going to want to make, I want to know that I'm going to be able to make these items on the weekend, on a weeknight, make it for a part, like all the things, right? So I'm looking for something very well-rounded like that, but I am looking for very clear instructions. I'm looking for short ingredient list of ingredients that I know. I don't mind an occasional ingredient where I gotta like, order it online, but I can't be doing that for every single recipe. Nobody wants to be doing that. And then that's for an all-purpose cookbook. If you're really trying to find a book where you're like, I want to cook through this, I want to have meals all the time that I know I can rely on, that's the type of book we're looking at today. There's also other books that are like meant to be highly educational, where you may not cook from them all the time. For example, I made the tahini meltaways from Legusta Yearwood's Sweet and Salty book, which is one of my absolute favorite books. But if you know this person and you know this book, they also have a chocolate shop, Legusta's Luscious in New Paltz, and where they also sell their chocolates at a little shop in New York City called Confectionery NYC. This person's been doing chocolates and candies for a long time. So that's not a book I cook from all the time. But gosh darn it, when I do, it's educational. I'm reading all about tempering chocolate, what types of tahini is the best tahini that she uses to make her candies the best, all sorts of things like that. So there's just different levels of like cookbooks in terms of like what makes it a good cookbook. It's not just a one size fits all kind of answer. But when I look at these all purpose ones, I am looking for short ingredient list and streamlined recipes. And also, hey, I'm going to say it, beautiful photos. And this book has it all. They open up with, the same stuff we all like to kind of put at the top of our cookbooks here. There's notes about the recipes. Veganism isn't expensive, they say. Shop smart, shop in bulk, shop seasonally, plan well. We all know to have a successful, diet, so to say. And I'm not saying dieting, but like to have a successful like food plan, you got to plan it out, right? That's why it's in the word, right? The word. I was thinking meal plan, but it's not. It's meal prep. So never mind. Scratch that. Not deleting. Useful equipment. So they go through that. Mix and match. What are they talking about? Mix and match. Let's see what they mean by that. Mix and match. Oh, they're just talking about how to mix and match different pieces of equipment and things to use together and that sort of thing. And also mixing and matching recipes together to create your favorite recipes which I think is a great tip. And they also talk about eating your leftovers to maximize your budget and grow your own food. Also, you can maximize your budget there. I can't wait for a day that David and I can grow our own food. I'm really hoping for that one day, someday. By that I mean I hope he cooks it, he grows it, and I get to cook it. They go through a whole list of how to shop for the fridge, the freezer, the pantry, and tools that you need. And then we get into our recipes. So first off, we have breakfast. Now remember, they wrote a whole book called Vegan Breakfast, which is great. But I will be honest, it is also one of those books. A few episodes ago, I told the world I was looking for. It's like, oh, I want a pancake recipe. Like, I want to try a new pancake recipe. And like, I scoured my books for a plain, fluffy. I was specifically looking for a fluffy pancake recipe. And I thought, oh, this vegan breakfast book is going to have it. They had one pancake in there, and it was a poppy seed pancake. Now, listen, I'm all about a poppy seed. I think it might have been lemon poppy seed. I'm all about a poppy seed pancake. But I was like, this is a vegan breakfast book. You don't have just a, like, I am a purist at heart. Like, I do want a plain, fluffy pancake with vegan butter and maple syrup. Like, even as I'm talking about it right now, I'm like, that's what I'm making when I'm getting off of this podcast recording. And I end up finding it. I found it in the book of all books. Isa Does It by Isa Chandra Moskowitz. But my point of this was, I was surprised in the vegan breakfast book there was not a basic pancake. So we're opening up their breakfast section in here with something called Morning Glory, and this looks like it's couscous, banana, plain yogurt, almond butter, frozen berries, grapes, and cinnamon. What an interesting combination. I'm all about grains in a little fruit parfait morning situation. I've only seen quinoa bowls, so couscous is very interesting, but it's very balanced. It's a great way to start the day. And I love when I read books from other countries like this too, because I feel like I get a glimpse into stuff that I wouldn't normally make for myself. Ultimately, we got savory loaded waffles. They're loading it up with stuff like tofu and avocado scallions, yogurt Tabasco sauce, coconut farro. So man, they're really getting into these grains for breakfast here. French toast, a delicious French toast recipe. I'll have to try it because I like trying everyone's different French toast. Speaking of, though, I'm going to go back to Isa. Man, in her brunch book, there is a Brazilian French toast we made a few weeks ago that was so outstanding. Okay, we got some overnight oats in here with banana and maple syrup, chia seeds, breakfast energy bars. I love a good breakfast bar. Scallion pancakes. Now, this is not what we're thinking, because when I saw this in the book, I was thinking, oh, traditional like savory scallion pancakes. And they're savory, but they're meant for breakfast, because I'm thinking like the kind I would order at like a Chinese restaurant. This is scallion pancakes with tomato, macadamia, ricotta. That ricotta sounds ridiculously delicious. I would totally eat these. I just think I would eat them more for like actually like lunch or supper or something. Then they've got a nice smoothie roundup, something called a green hornet with kale and the green goods in it. It's got wheatgrass in it. A wake up with carrots and mango and ginger. Chuck berry, which is berries, almonds, and almond milk. And then a banana joe with some banana oats and almond milk and raw almonds as well. Snacks and on the go, we got a banh mi deluxe, Vietnamese cucumber salad, savory kale chips, London sandwiches, chickpea sumac salad, rosemary crackers, California rice salad, and roasted chickpeas. Now let's check out this London sandwich. What makes a London sandwich? Okay, it said we first discovered this yummy sandwich while traveling in London. Now we can't imagine our lives without it. We like it as a snack between meals, as a lighter dinner, or when we're on the go. So it's got carrots, chickpeas, tahini, lemon, garlic, pepper, bread. Okay, so sprouts and leaves. You know what? It's like a mashed chickpea sandwich, but like I'm digging this tahini and the chickpea and the garlic. It's sort of like a mashed hummus sandwich. Oh, you know what? I don't know why that sounds so freaking good. Like a little variation on hummus. I'm so here for it. I'm folding that page. I want to make this. That's great. I love a little take on something for hummus that's not exactly hummus, or a smashed tuna situation, not tuna, smashed chickpea situation that's like not here's a faux tuna situation is what I was trying to say. California rice salad with tofu, grapes, and almonds says crisp fried tofu meets crisp fried tofu meets sweet grapes and nutty roasted almonds, a wonderful late summer lunch or dinner. And it's just that. And it looks so fresh and yummy. And then they've got those roasted chickpeas. And then we get into quick meals. Sauteed fennel. We're going to look a little further into that. Aloo tikka, African peanut stew. Oh, yum, African peanut stew. They got a frittata in here. Little confused at why that's not in the breakfast section. Sesame noodles. Every time you can get me with a sesame noodle, I will eat them for days and days and days. Spinach falafel, olive ragu, green power wraps, sheet pan super supper, and speedy ramen. Let's check out this sauteed fennel because it can't just be like fennel. Okay. Sauteed fennel with couscous and lemon. So, fennel, with its delicate anise flavor, is rich in vitamin C and calcium. Fresh fennel should be bright green with no brown marks on its outer layers. Otherwise, it will turn dry and woody when cooked. So it's a delicious plate of sauteed fennel couscous with a little bit of a lemon essence in there. So I'm here for that. And then we're looking at I'm really curious about this sheet pan super supper. So let's get into that real quick. I'm curious what they put on that sheet pan to make it a super supper. Super supper. All right. Ooh, it's all the goods. I see a lot of root vegetables on here. And that's what I'm seeing. So we got russet potatoes, carrots, parsnips, shallots, Brussels sprouts. And then seasoning that all up with some olive oil, rosemary, paprika, thyme, oregano. I don't know if I would call it. Okay, then it's got hummus, a little hummus on the side. It's a roasted red pepper hummus. This is not a supper to me. This is like a side. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it, and I'm gonna love it so much. But I'm gonna need a little more on my supper plate than that. They've got a recipe for a speedy ramen in here. It says homemade ramen soup is a totally different from the highly processed packages you find in the corner store. No synthetic flavor enhancers for us. We pack our ramen broth full of fresh vegetables, miso, and tofu, and it looks so yummy. It's got vegetable broth, soy sauce, sesame oil, ramen noodles, carrots, tofu scallions, bean sprouts, fresh chilies, peppercorns, ground pepper, and pink peppercorns, and then ground black pepper and yellow miso paste. Can't do it without the miso paste, babes. Ooh, we got a bowls chapter in here. I love me some bowls. So this is called Wonder Bowls. It's spicy coconut soup, Asian rice noodle salad, Thai broccoli salad, butternut squash salad, white minestrone, hot and sour soup, sushi bowl, jambalaya, and roasted squash soup. Let's see what's going into that sushi bowl, babes. All right. So it says sushi bowl, vegan sushi for lazy bones. I'll take it. None of that rolling up sushi here. Oh gosh. So it's the day after Valentine's, and David and I actually went to Blue Sushi Sake Grill, and I guess they're all over the country. I didn't realize that. We thought we had found like, oh my gosh, this place with vegan sushi. When we lived in New York, we went to Beyond Sushi all the time, and the last few times we've been there, I gotta say, Beyond Sushi is not what it used to be for us. The quality seems to have decreased slightly, and the prices have just gotten higher. Granted, that's the price of business these days, but it's very difficult to go in and pay for, sushi that used to be this amazing experience. And now it feels like a little subpar. Sorry, I said it out loud. I still love it. I will still go to Beyond Sushi, but like every time I'm like crossing my fingers that the experience is delicious. And Blue Sake so far, every time, Blue Sushi Sake Grill, oh, it's been so good. They have a full vegan menu. We had the charred edamame yesterday with the spicy garlic, and then they have this cowgirl roll that's got a barbecue wrap that we love, love, love. And I had a shiitake roll, which David's not into the shrooms, but man, it was so delicious. He actually had it and he liked it, but then he got like a bite of the mushroom, and then he's like, the texture. So that's what always gets to him, is the texture of the mushroom. But he does appreciate the flavor. But it was really nice it's so nice to go there and we waited for it all week. We were so excited just to order like a boatload of sushi, and we did just that. Best Valentine's Day ever. Okay, so the sushi bowl, vegan sushi for lazy bones. Vegan sushi is one of our absolute favorite meals, but it definitely takes some effort to make. This is a simple, fast recipe for a quick meal. It's got sushi rice, carrots, green bell pepper, avocado, cucumber, sesame seeds. Nori sheets are torn up in here as well. And then for the dressing, we're using a little bit of ginger, rice vinegar, sesame oil, soy sauce, and wasabi powder. Oh, that's nice. Give it a little extra little pop of flavor in there, huh? And this leads us into the next chapter, which is cooking for friends and family. Now, when I'm looking at a chapter like this, I'm hoping you're going to give me stuff that this is when I would say to the author, what am I going to serve from here to wow the crowd? What is something that everyone's going to love from this? Like, no matter what, I know it's going to be a winner. So we've got things like Mexican paella, Thai burgers. I did a pad Thai burger in one of my books. I wonder if it's similar. Savoy noodles, spinach strudel. Ooh, yum. Seitan fajitas, hash browns, Ethiopian chard, and kale huat. Moroccan stew, super bean burgers, California steak, cauliflower steaks. I was like, ooh, what's a California? Nope, cauliflower steaks, pizza Marrakesh, and gone wraps. So I'm going to look at that pizza Marrakesh. I am just curious. Ooh, but I'm passing a picture of that spinach strudel. It looks so good. Let's see what they have to say about it. So it says spinach strudel with wild herbs, like arugula before them, wild greens such as nettles, sorrel, and bishop's weed, goatweed, are often considered weeds and can be hard to find in supermarkets. But we hope they find their place in the sun soon. If you're unable to find or forage these greens, you can replace them with spinach or dandelion greens. That's lovely. But it is like a pastry puff with, spinach and herbs in it. It looks so yummy and so good for you too. And now we are looking for that pizza Marrakesh. So it says pizza Marrakesh, a whole new world of pizza. Instead of sauce and cheese, this pizza is topped with creamy North African inspired sauce made with white beans and fresh parsley. Ooh, so it's just a little spin there. I got it. Okay. All right. This is going to take us into our next section here, which is date night dinners. Now, when I'm thinking date night dinners, I'm thinking, all right, we want to keep this light and breezy because, if we're going to be getting into any action later on, a little Netflix and chill, we want to keep it light, right? Okay. So we got a potato galette here, pot stickers, beluga lentil curry, tapenade tartlets, quesadillas, polenta lasagna. Oh. Okay, let me read the next two and then I'll come back to polenta. Taj Mahal squash curry and five spice. I don't know how to say this. It's Baozi. I would have said bao before, but I'm gonna say Bowsy then maybe. And like I told you before, it's those like steamed buns, like a bao. But let's check out this polenta lasagna because me and my friend Natalie of Bacon Destroy have a little bit of a love affair with polenta. Y'all, it's a forgotten grain. Everyone needs to be making it all the time. They need to have it for lunch, like at least once a week, and then dinner another night of the week. It's so good. We actually just released a recipe with Upton's Naturals that I did with them with creamy polenta, and it's topped with an Italian seitan ragu from their line of seitan. Their Italian seitan is one of my absolute favorites, but I loved making that recipe, and I love the photo that I did for it, and it's up on the Upton's Naturals website and on their social media if you want to get the recipe. But part of the recipe for that, Natalie was like, should we do something with polenta? And I was like, yes, this year that we like make polenta a thing in 2025. She's like, let's do it. So I got really excited when I saw this polenta lasagna. It's polenta lasagna with lentil leek ragu. It says this healthier version of lasagna replaces the pasta sheets with polenta and the meat ragu with nourishing lentils and leeks. If you like, you can top the lasagna with a few slices of vegan cheese. We don't need to put the vegan cheese on. I think we're okay ultimately. I mean, that's just me. I don't need the cheese anymore, which I'm real happy to say. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I still use vegan cheese, but like I don't need it. I love pizza, for example, without cheese. Love it, love it, love it. Someone said to Chef Bay the other night, because her new book is Breaking Up with Dairy, they were like, what about pizza? And she was very sweet and she was right. She's like, look for the vegan option whenever you can and get that. And I kind of wanted to shout out and try it without cheese. It's delicious because like it is. It like I've done this with my sister and my good friend Kelly actually way back in the day. I would make pizzas for us and it's just like I would just pile it with vegetables and marinara and we'd all be so satisfied. And you feel like lighter because there's not a bunch of cheese on it. Vegan or non-vegan. Hold on, another sip of coffee. Keep myself caffeinated for you here today as we're going through this book here, vegan everything. All right, for the ragu in this, we've got a chili in there, we've got leeks, we've got garlic, a little bit of red bell pepper, olive oil, rosemary, lentils, tomatoes, balsamic vinegar, and black pepper, and then polenta. We're seasoning that up with some nutritional yeast, fresh parsley, olive oil, and looks like we're using a plum tomato here to garnish things. Also, trying to see if it's one layer of polenta, or are we stacking this like in a lasagna? It says grease an 8-inch square baking pan with 1 tablespoon of oil. Spread half the polenta in the pan. Distribute the ragu evenly over the polenta and layer the top. Okay, so we're getting 2 layers of polenta. So definitely a lasagna. All right, here for it. All right, next one is party hits. So actually, maybe this would have been the chapter where I said, "What are you gonna serve the crowd to make them happy?" We've got eggplant kofta, antipasto pizza bites, ginger nori cakes, savory corn waffles. You know I'm going to turn to that page. Roasted sweet potatoes, Thai tempura, Bavarian samosas, taco lettuce wraps, Swiss chard pie, and chickpea tart. Oh, okay, so let's go to these savory corn waffles. Y'all, I just love a waffle. I just love it. I love a freaking waffle. I love it for dinner. I love it for breakfast. I love it for lunch. Get yourself a waffle maker and make yourself some waffles. You'll never regret it. This is savory corn waffles with pico de gallo. It says, dig out your waffle iron. It's time for something new. These hearty waffles are made with cornmeal to give them a touch of Mexican flavor. There are cornmeal waffles. I'm going to bring up the queen again, Isa Chandra Moskowitz. It's funny. She commented on something on a post and she said, this is basically my podcast now. And I'm like, listen, when you've written all those cookbooks that you have, I can't help it. It just is, right? But she's got some cornmeal waffles in her brunch cookbook that are so good and so easy to make. Now, these ones also look easy to make. It's got cornmeal, baking powder, dried oregano, salt, olive oil, calls for rice milk, and then pico de gallo on top of it. So a cornmeal waffle essentially with pico de gallo. But I thought, honestly, that this was going to be, because it said savory corn waffles. I know cornmeal corn, that's great, but I would have put little niblets of corn in here. I would have popped some corn kernels in here. That's what I would have done. Um, I'd still eat it like this, but if I make this, I'm popping some corn kernels and I'm gonna do it. Can't stop me. And then I'm gonna put that delicious uh pico on top too. That sounds real yummy. A corn, like very corny waffle, a very corny waffle. We got a great Swiss chard pie in here. It looks very hearty and satiating while also being healthy for you because Swiss chard, delicious. It says Swiss chard. It says Swiss chard pie, Sicilian style. Swiss chard season lasts from spring to fall. Its delicate flavor pairs wonderfully with sweet raisins and balsamic vinegar and this savory Sicilian pie. That sounds delicious. So you're making a pastry crust for it, a pie pastry crust. And then for the filling, it's got garlic, onions, olive oil, raisins, Swiss chard, almonds, pepper flakes, red pepper flakes, balsamic vinegar, nutritional yeast. Now, normally when I would see raisins in something savory like this, I'd be like, what the? But it actually seems kind of yummy. I'm not going to lie. Um, like a little pop of the raisin in there. I like a little pop of raisin in something savory. I know there are raisin haters out there. I get that, but I'm not a raisin hater. I actually kind of like them. Talking to you, Anna. You know I'm talking to you. I don't know if she listens to this, but my gal Anna hates raisins. Okay. Chickpea tart. I was going to move on to the next chapter, but this says chickpea tart with spinach pesto. So I wanted everybody to know about it. It says this tart is a variation of the flatbread soca, which I love soca because it's this thin, delicious bread made from chickpea flour that you like make in a cast iron skillet. It's all crispy and oily on the outside, and little puff of heaven in the middle and like chewy. It's so good. It says it's a popular street food in south of France. You can also top this tart with avocado slices or a fresh salad. But oh my gosh, this photo with the chickpea tart crust essentially with this spinach pesto on top of it looks so yummy, and it's got like peas on it with little slices of lemon for a garnish. So to make the tart, you've got chickpea flour, olive oil, garlic, And then you're topping this with frozen peas, the spinach cashew pesto, and also fresh chives. And then you've got those lemon slices. It's such a beautiful, oh, it just looks so yummy. Like I want to make this and I'm going to feel really good about myself when I eat it because of the chickpeas and the spinach and the da 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 da. Oh, they give us a chapter on bread. So we got a basic pizza dough, naan, flatbread, savory scones, dinner rolls, bagels, and focaccia. Does anyone know why I say focaccia that way? If you've been listening to the podcast, you know that Olympia Dukakis in the series Tales of the City says to another character, when he says this sandwich is good, she says, it's focaccia. And now I've said it like that for about 20 years. And this focaccia looks delicious and it looks also very easy to make. Streamlined list of ingredients and really straightforward. So I love that. I especially love that in a bread recipe. We got those bagels in here with the everything seasoning, dinner rolls. It says an American classic. Got to tell you, I tried to make a dinner roll from a book a couple times and it did not turn out well. I'm always still looking for the perfect dinner roll recipe. And these savory scones look delicious. And theirs, they're putting ramps and sun-dried tomatoes. So lots of variations on different breads in there for you to get your bread on. Now we have dips, pesto, and more. This is going to have super dips, four mayos, preserved lemons, tangy pestos, Vietnamese pickles, our favorite spreads, aged cashew cheese, sauces and spice mixes, savory tofu feta, all delicious stuff. Let's look at what the super dips are. So we got chimichurri, nacho dip, lime hummus, and pico de gallo. That makes sense for me. For mayo, they've got mayo aioli, wasabi mayo, and sriracha mayo. Now, let me look at, so they've got a selection of pestos in here, which is lovely, but they also have, which intrigues me to this day. I've yet to make this, but I want to make preserved lemons. So it says preserved lemon. This says preserved lemons, Moroccan style. Preserved lemons are an integral part of Moroccan cooking. With their unusual and aromatic flavor, they give couscous, vegetables, and stews a certain je ne sais quoi. Now, this says 8 lemons. You want a red chili, garlic cloves, sea salt, and peppercorns. You're going to juice 2 of the lemons and set the juice aside. Wash the remaining 4 lemons well with hot water, leaving them attached at one end. Cut the lemons into quarters. I don't know. Attached at one end. I don't know what that means. Oh, I see. You're gonna slice them into quarters essentially, but leave them attached like you would like the butt of an onion when you're slicing an onion. Pack the cuts in the lemons with the salt, then place the lemons in a sterilized 1-quart canning jar with the chili, garlic, and peppercorns. Fill the jar with any remaining salt and top with lemon juice and enough water to cover the lemons completely. Seal the jar and place in a cool, dark spot for 4 weeks. When ready to use, rinse the lemons, discard the flesh, and slice the peel into thin slices. I still don't know. It says preserved lemons are great in our chickpea sumac salad, tabbouleh, and North African stews, and even as a topping for pasta. I've never made preserved lemons. I've never had preserved lemons, but something about it is so intriguing to me. Um, Michelle from what used to be Revoir Clothing, Schwegman, I saw her online making a bunch of preserved lemon stuff a while ago and it just intrigued me. So I'm curious. I'm bookmarking this page. All right, we got tangy pestos here. It says pack your homemade pestos in small canning jars and top with a little olive oil to help preserve their freshness. They'll keep in the fridge for a couple weeks, but we don't think you'll wait that long to finish them. You're not wrong. If there's pesto in my fridge, I'm eating that up. We got a spinach cashew pesto, roasted tomato pesto, arugula pumpkin seed pesto, and leek walnut pesto. I'm here for all of that good goodness. They even give you an aged cashew cheese in here. It's got cashews. They want you to use something like Rejuvelac in it. Now, I will tell you, everybody, if you've got a cheese recipe that calls for Rejuvelac, a little hack you could potentially use is sauerkraut juice, but sometimes you need like a decent amount of it. Like this calls for a half cup, so you can usually get that out of a jar or a can of sauerkraut. But just to give you a little, little tip of what you could possibly do if you don't want to make the Rejuvelac, because that requires like sprouting grains and it gets smelly and all this stuff like that. They got sauces and spice mixes. So they got harissa, fake fish sauce, yum yum sauce, and dukkha. Savory tofu feta. Ooh, it looks so good. They put it in a canning jar here, and it's all canned up with sun-dried tomatoes, olives, different kinds, green, black olives. It's got a red chili in there. It's got fresh sprigs of oregano. It's got basil leaves in the jar, and of course, salt and olive oil, and it just looks so good. I love feta cheese swimming in that olive oil. Now we're on to the sweet stuffs chapter, the last chapter here. We got mocha cupcakes, refreshing horchata, berry cheesecake, nice cream sandwiches, tapioca pudding, mini brownie tart, peanut truffles, apple pear crumble, and banana popsicles. What do I want to look at here? I think I'm going to check out the cheesecake. How? Oh, these mocha cupcakes look very delicious. We got a mocha coffee base for the, or we got, sorry, a cashew frosting using Kahlua or a coffee liqueur and cocoa butter chips and powdered sugar, of course, and then a few chocolate covered coffee beans. And for the cupcakes, we're looking at spelt flour, sugar, cocoa powder, so and espresso as well, a double shot of espresso. So chocolate coffee sort of muffins. But I wanted to check out the berry cheesecake here. It says berry cheesecake without turning on the oven. Consider this recipe a little introduction to the world of raw food. We think this cheesecake is just as delightful as its traditional cousin. It's an indulgence that just happens to be healthy. Now, listen, I love a raw cheesecake. It's so much easier to make actually than a baked cheesecake. Every time I bake a cheesecake, I get real nervous about it. Um, like either falling down in the middle or ballooning up too high or cracking, all those things like that. So I appreciate and respect a raw cheesecake moment. When I worked at Arden's Garden in Atlanta, I did a whole line of raw cheesecakes for them and they sold very well. They were so yummy too. And so easy to make in production, because we just blended everything up and then we actually put crust individual cups and then we filled the individual cups up. It was quite nice. All right, now we've got I'm gonna end it here with this tapioca pudding with coconut milk and mango. It says this pudding makes a deliciously light summer dessert or lovely treat that you're hit with a sudden craving when you're hit with a sudden craving for something sweet. The rum gives it a refined touch for special occasions. So you're looking at tapioca pearls, full fat coconut milk, so it's going to be really decadent, luscious, and creamy. Agave syrup, rum, one mango, and dried coconut chips. And my friends, I was going to wrap us up, but we've got peanut truffles here too, which is basically it's like a peanut butter cup. It says these heavenly bites filled with delectable peanut filling reminds us of a Snickers bar. And you've got rolled oats, raw almonds, peanuts, peanut butter, maple syrup, and then you're making little truffles out of that, and then you're dipping it in vegan chocolate, and you've got yourself some delicious, beautiful, easy to make vegan truffles. And that, my friends, is Vegan Everything 100 Easy Recipes for Any Craving, from bagels to burgers, tacos to ramen, by Nadine Horn and Jörg Mayer of eatthis.org. So remember, it's eat-this.org. Be sure to check them out. And of course, you can get this book, Vegan Everything, everywhere books are sold. They're also the authors of VBQ, the Ultimate Vegan Barbecue Cookbook, and the Ultimate Vegan Breakfast Book. So there's other books by them as well. I'm looking forward to trying a few things in this. They really cover, for an all-purpose book, it is always refreshing to see when people sort of step outside the box of just comfort food. And I feel like they're giving you a very, very nice variety in this book. And of course, you can check out more books by The Experiment at theexperimentpublishing.com. I really love everything by them that I've ever gotten. We've covered several books on this podcast. One of my favorites by The Experiment is But I Could Never Go Vegan by Christy Turner. She's no longer on the webosphere. She's stopped blogging, but she's got two wonderful books, But I Could Never Go Vegan and But My Family Would Never Go Vegan. It's around those. That's the names of it, right? They're going to be right behind me. It says, But I Could Never Go Vegan, But My Family Would Never Go Vegan. Those are the names of it. And I just love the print style of The Experiment and the quality of the books. It's a matte book. It always looks so good. They publish the veg cookbook, so the veg bar book and the veg restaurant book. So lots of great stuff from The Experiment. So check them out, theexperimentpublishing.com. And thanks for tuning in to hear more about the stories behind the recipes. Keep on cooking, and remember, it's nice to be nice.
Thank you so much for listening. We'd be so grateful if you would rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. It really does help us.
Yes, thank you so much. And don't forget to check out keeponcookin.com for all of the latest in recipes and Keep On Cooking updates. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.